I don't know when it happened. I don't know why it happened. But things changed. This is my internal clock now. Out of bed, 4:33. I've been up for about 5 minutes. And I'm going to get the day going. I don't like to stay in bed. I feel like I'm almost missing something. I got to get it started. But I hope everyone's doing fantastic. Hope you get out of bed early today, too. It's going to be fantastic. It's going to be a great day. Let's do this. Nikki, you going to have a good day? All right, give me a high five. Are you going to run track today? All right. It's going to be a great day. Oh, you got to pick up the garbage cans? What a mess. Johnny's got to come fix this. Oh, he left the other one. All right, I love you. See you later. All right. I'm back. I'm around the corner from Nicholas's high school football field because he's at the after-school program today. And today's the first day of it. He was supposed to start the first day of school, but that didn't happen because there was all kinds of drama surrounding that situation involving the head of special ed. So it's been a tough year so far with her specifically. I sent her an email this morning saying, look, I'd really like to speak with the classroom teacher about Tuesday afternoon. Yesterday we were off. The day before Nicholas came home from school, he was definitely upset. He can't tell me what happened at school, so I want to speak to the classroom teacher. And I made it really clear, look, if I can't speak with this person directly, this is a clear and blatant example of discrimination. Because they have a policy for the regular ed program where there's an open line of communication. In fact, I got an email today with a page in it that says, listen, we want our parents calling our teachers. They should write at the bottom, unless your child has special needs and can't communicate, with you, then don't call. Because that's actually what's happening. So I didn't get a response. And I didn't get a response from the school board either. So I'm very curious to see, is there going to be someone here waiting for me, or are they just going to go with, let's just ignore them for a couple of days and see what happens. But I'm going to be there in a minute. We're going to see. And just to make one thing clear, I keep saying classroom teacher. I'm not referring to Mrs. Harrison. She has him early in the day. I'm talking about the end of the day, 4 periods a day, periods 6, 7, 8, and 9 is when he's with the jobs coach, and the jobs coach serves as the classroom teacher because he's in a 12-1-1 classroom as mandated by his IEP, which means 12 students, 1 teacher, 1 aide. I know there's more aides than that, but this jobs coach is in the role of classroom's teacher for those periods. And again, no response, no reply. I have no idea what happened on Tuesday, and there's no one I can talk to. Now, I can call the supervisor, but I'm not going to do that because the regular ed kids have the opportunity to have their parents call their teachers, and we should too. So Rocky makes his way up the stairs, and now he can't get down. So he just sits up there until someone comes over and helps him. You gonna come down, Rocky? Come on. You can do it. There you go. Good boy. Getting cold feet. You can do it. All right. Good work, buddy. Good job. Way to go. Hey, Nick. Are you going to go in? Do you want to go swimming?
Swimming.
Take that as a yes. All right, so here's the drama with the after-school program. Last year, Nicholas was taking part in this program, and it was up and down. Some days were good, some days not so much. Rocky's pushing me against the wall. There were days where Nicholas didn't do anything, frankly. There were days where, they'd go out to the field and nobody was there, and there wasn't enough collaboration between the fellow who was working with Nick and the sports team, so they'd walk across the street and nobody's there. Then they'd go inside to, go work out, and the door would be locked and they couldn't get in there. And all this kind of indecision is the kind of thing that really is difficult for people with transitional issues to deal with. So he would come home and flip out. So by like October, or November or so, we had a meeting and said, look, we got to get way more structured with this. And Mrs. Harrison came up with a brilliant plan, and it got better. The problem was, though, it was still really inconsistent because there was no oversight at all. There was nobody supervising this fella. He was never observed. There was no data collected. We have no ideas how well Nicholas was achieving the goals they set out. Nobody was following up. So that was a problem. And then toward the end of the year, Nicholas wanted to stay for an additional half hour because he wanted to keep running with the kids. And he was only getting about 20-25 minutes or so anyway because the sports programs didn't start until about 3:05 and Nicholas gets out at 2:30, right? And so they agreed, let's let him stay until 4 o'clock. But the problem was the person who was working with him wasn't available to stay later. And so we were like, okay, no big deal. They said, but we'll start looking for someone right away. And this was back in May. So we figured just because it's the end of the year, let's not make a big deal out of this. They'll have somebody by September. Well, they really didn't put any effort in at all to find somebody new. And August 31st, we call up and we're like, hey, what's going on? Are we going to have this program supposed to start on the first day of school? And they asked us, so did you contact PBS, which was the company that was providing the after school fellow? And we're like, no, that's your job. You contact PBS. You're supposed to provide this. We're not supposed to. We don't work there. And so long story short, there was nobody available. There was no one. Because the fellow who was actually going to work till 3:30, not 4 o'clock, couldn't do it anymore. He had a replacement, and it was a woman, who we didn't want because Nicholas is going to be in the men's locker room, working in the weight room, and we didn't think that was a good idea.
What?
And she could only stay till 3:30, so there was nobody. There was nobody there for Nicholas. So we call PBS and we say, look, this is the story. Do you have somebody? We need a man. We need, somebody who's a strong male figure to be with Nicholas, and he's got to stay till 4 o'clock. Well, they told us we don't have anyone like that. Right? We're like, fantastic. So obviously this isn't going to start on the first day. We'll have to hire someone. We'll have to find someone, and we'll hire someone for you. And we were like, look, I wasn't even crazy about that because then we're dealing with their brand new hire. Nikki, are you going swimming in that hot tub? Go ahead, get in there. That's a whole nother story, this is just fantastic. So we weren't crazy about any of the options that were available to us. So we were like, all right, you're just going to stay. We're not going to even start. And then there was the big argument over, why was there no search done? And the head of special ed said, well, she did, even though she literally asked us if we called PBS. But then she changed that story and said, oh, no, I did. We had somebody, but they backed out at the last minute. Meanwhile, we called them and they said that Babylon never even contacted them, ever. So their story is, well, it's a miscommunication on their end at this company, PBS, that the head of special ed actually did call. Somebody's not telling the truth, for sure. So the whole trust factor, which is so profoundly important when you're dealing with a child who, doesn't communicate as well as other students, it's a big deal. And trust is lost, frankly. So a couple of days into the school year, the head of special ed calls us and says, look, we have someone. PBS hired someone and we're ready to go. And I was like, well, who knows this person? Is he their brand new hire? They just got off the street? I mean, how could they even done a background check? It was like the next day. And so we weren't comfortable with that either. Nobody knew this fella. There's a lot of times where Nicholas is walking through the school with no one else around and whoever his person is. So we were not comfortable with that. Additionally, there was absolutely no plan in regards to what Nicholas was even going to do. Right? This person that they were going to bring in has never been to the school. He didn't know any of the coaches. There was no written plan. There was no plan for oversight, no tools for collecting that data, nothing. And so I demanded, look, we're not starting until all of this is in place. Shannon and I end up calling a fella who worked with Nicholas several years ago, both here at the house and at Babylon School District, who started his own company. Nicholas already has rapport with him, and he's a fantastic guy. And he said he was available, and he was able to find someone who actually, not only was he going to do, his name's Rich, he's going to be working with Nicholas a couple days a week. He had a second guy who lives in Babylon, which is a great coincidence, who is a 30-year veteran of teaching, just retired from Harbor Fields. I am happy. And they're going to both be working with Nicholas. And Shannon and I actually found the company. They had all summer to do it and never did it. And Shannon and I got lucky because this guy happened to be available. But this seems to be the right fit. But even after we found this company, I still didn't want Nicholas to start until we had a concrete plan in place of exactly what he was going to do and contingency plans should the soccer team be at an away game, because that was the problem last year. And all of a sudden, they're just kind of walking around, and that's the kind of thing that brings Nicholas home and has him freak out. So all of this is in place. We have a plan. We have the right person. I don't know about the tools for data collection. I don't know about how it's going to be supervised because at this point, our head of special ed, Lisa Consolo, has not communicated this to us, even though I made it very clear. And I don't even think this is something that's that hard to figure out. It really isn't. You know, who's going to be responsible for supervising? How is he going to be supervised? Or is he going to, you know, submit documents that show what he's been doing? Is somebody going to come out and observe him every so often? Is there going to be a conference time where we can talk about what Nicholas has done with him and what the progress has been? But at this point, you know, she refuses to even go down this road to discuss exactly who's going to be supervising him. She did agree that they would do some data collection, but I wanted that plan shared with me. She hasn't shared that with me. But at the very least, they had it in place and we had the right people, and it's already October. And I didn't feel right about keeping Nicholas home anymore, so we're gonna keep pushing and demand that we have this these tools for data taking. Like what's the oversight going to be, and also how's the data going to be collected, and you know, are we going to meet periodically to discuss, you know, what Nicholas's progress has been? And that's what's going to happen. That's what we're pushing for anyway. So I've talked a little bit about Wimhof. I've done some videos over the winter where we're jumping in the inlet in the ice cold water, and this is kind of a continuation of that, where we fill this up with hose water and some ice, which I'm going to throw in there as well. There might be some people that might think this is a little crazy, a little over the top, but I can tell you, Nikki, are you going in the pool?
Okay.
Let me see you do it. Standing in this cold water is the most amazing self-regulation tool I've ever been part of. If Nikki's in a bad mood, or even if he's not in a bad mood, if you go plunge into this ice cold water, you are set for the rest of the night. You are going to be calm, cool, and collected. And he actually likes it. He's completely used to it. That's just hose water, so it's ice cold. And he's just going to get used to it for a little while, and then he'll actually sit down in there. And he's in. So, do you want a cheeseburger and French fries?
Yes.
All right, fantastic. How do you feel?
Happy.
All right, I'm so glad. Yes, indeed. You know who just called me?
Okay.
Mrs. Harrison called me. She said you had a good day.
Good day.
Yes, indeed. How's that hamburger?
Yeah.
Good?
Yeah.
How do you feel?
Happy.
All right, fantastic. You want to say goodbye to everybody?
About you. Love you.
And we'll see you next time.